It's becoming a real struggle to survive financially right now in our world. Inflation is really high, expenses are through the roof, groceries are expensive, doesn't seem like we're making enough money in our main jobs. And there's a lot of people, quite honestly, just struggling to make ends meet financially. And so I'm here to tell you that I hear you and I feel where you are. I was there 10 years ago in a similar situation where my wife and I were struggling to make our ends meet. We had just had our oldest son, and I was the only income at home, and it was a struggle to get there. But we made it out, and so can you. And I want to identify today the 3 reasons why most people right now are struggling financially. And I'm going to provide you a tip for each of those struggles. So the first reason why people are struggling financially is it simply their bills are too high. There's a lot of credit card debt, their rent is through the roof, medical bills, groceries, childcare, expenses for just random things that you have to take care of, old collection bills, and it's starting to pile up on a lot of people, especially the credit card bills, which is very not fun. I've been there, and it's not easy to get out of that hump. But the reality is you find yourself where you are today, and you don't want to dwell nor remain in there. So we need to identify a true solution to reduce the amount of bills. And so the solution and tip that I give you today is to consider doing what I call an objective cost assessment. What it simply does is it provides you a financial mirror that reflects off of your financial performance and habits that you and your family currently have. What you do is you download your last 3 bank statements and you list out every single expense on a spreadsheet, perhaps on a Microsoft Excel, and you list it out line item by line item, the dollar figure and the actual reason for the expense. For example, if you went to a grocery store, the name of the grocery store would be on one cell, and the amount you spent that day on the grocery store would be on the other cell. If the subsequent week you went back to the same store and bought some more eggs, then you would list again the same name of that grocery store and the same amount, and vice versa, and all the way down. And so you list out all of your expenses on that given month, and you do it for 3 months. So if your bills are too high, an objective cost assessment will help. The second reason why most people are struggling financially is that their income is simply too low. Perhaps you have a lower income job or a lower paying job, and that's okay. You can still have a lower paying job, but going back to point 1, if your expenses are reduced, it'll give you some breathing room regardless of the income you're making. But one thing you can consider doing is to create a side gig, a side hustle. One I always like to advocate for is Uber. Uber is one that's really great because it allows you to control your time a little bit better because you control your hours that you're working. And on average, according to ZipRecruiter, the average hourly rate for an Uber driver is $19 an hour. So if you can block off certain hours in the afternoon or in the evening time to go and do Uber a few hours a day for a few days, you can supplement the fact that perhaps your main job is lower income, but with this side gig, you may find yourself with a little more breathing room. And although it's not necessarily forever, but for this season, it'll allow you to navigate these choppy waters as your next level up in your financial journey happens. So tip 2 would be to create and grab a side gig, perhaps an Uber. The third reason why most people are struggling financially, and probably a lot of this may relate for a lot of us here, is that just unfortunate life circumstances. We didn't do anything to get the hand that was dealt to us. A situation happened, a circumstance went down. Somebody did something and it ruined your financial outcome, or it ruined your credit, or now you're in collections because of another individual. Or maybe you made an honest mistake and now you're essentially having to pay for it for the foreseeable future. But in those situations, life happens and we are better from it and we learn from those situations so that we can overcome it. So the tip and the last tip I leave you for this one is build brick by brick with consistency. is the tip if you are having struggles because of an unfortunate life circumstance. Start with the 2 tips we gave earlier in the video, which is the objective cost assessment and a side gig, and simply just build consistency. And with that, you will eventually be able to overcome the unfortunate life circumstance that was dealt with you. So with those tips and with belief and a positive attitude, I can be with full confidence here to tell you today that you, just like I did 10 years ago, can overcome your financial struggles that you find yourself today. All we ask for today is for you to hit the like button, subscribe, and continue to stay up to date on the hot content we drop like this, and we'll talk to you later.